All right. Well, hello, everyone. It is Dr. Siobhan here, and I'm so excited to be here on Facebook to talk with you more about the GLAM Getaway. I'm sure you have seen my post about this amazing, amazing experience that I have planned for you all December 8th and 9th right here in New Jersey. And one of the things I am so excited about is the amazing group of women that I have recruited to be part of this getaway. And I'm very, very happy to introduce you to another incredible woman who will be featured on our panel as part of the getaway. And so I'm not going to say much more because I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get to talking all about the GLAM Getaway. So if you are joining us live, say hello to us, and let us know that you are here with us watching so that we can interact with you. And why don't you share this post, because I promise you there will be some really great information here that someone you're friends with on Facebook would really appreciate hearing about. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the mic over to my beautiful interviewee and let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lena Ryals, and I'm going to join the GLAM panel, and I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of a divorcee. And I'm really looking forward to sharing my experience before and after divorce with the ladies that will attend.
Awesome. Lena, I'm recognizing the little thing that has your name is like covering your mouth a little bit. Maybe you can you put your screen down or back a little bit? Yes, perfect.
You there? Good.
Kind of. We're getting it together. It's
right?
like totally covering you. I want people to know. Yes, that's perfect. Right there.
Okay.
It's awesome. Awesome. Okay. So good. Yes, Lena, you are sharing. Thank you. You're so courageous to share with the women who will be on attending the GLAM Getaway. And so why don't you, I guess we can start first with maybe your description of what you understand this event is about. So if you were describing the GLAM Getaway to someone, like how would you describe it? What is it that you see this event as?
When I think about what you're trying to achieve at the GLAM event, I personally go straight to intentional growth. And I say that because you have to be, I think people fail to realize that we have to intentionally grow ourselves. We want so many things from ourselves, but we don't go intentionally doing them. And so I think for your event and from the panel speakers that you will have, women will realize their purpose and their purpose to intentionally grow themselves.
That's really great. I love that intentional growth. I'm a big proponent of it. And then why don't you share, I guess, what made you decide to actually be a part of this event? So we've already shared that you'll be speaking about your experience before and after divorce. What makes you excited or willing to share such a personal journey with the women that will be attending the event?
Well, I had actually reached out to you maybe a couple of months ago. And in doing that, so at the beginning or the end of last year of 2016, when I had finally decided to get divorced officially, I had watched this sermon called New Name, New Game. And within the sermon, they talk about how in the Bible, God changes people's names and the purpose for changing their names. And for New Year's Day, I did my prayer and I had asked God to rename me Encourager. And so this year I was purposely trying to be encouraging because at the end of 2016, I had realized some things about myself and found that while I always had good intentions, I was not a good encourager. And so this year I have worked purposely on trying to be that. And throughout the year, I've found myself, doing that, from a perspective of being a woman, being a friend, being a mother. And so I reached out to you, and then you reached back out because I wasn't sure if what I will experience was part of your platform. And I felt like I could share my story in a way that people, one, could relate to, and people would understand that, wow, people really do go through these types of things. And while it does not get talked about often, it is something that, maybe you just share with your friends. But I think throughout this year, I've been brought to a place where I can actually share it and not be ashamed of it and not be saddened by it and not be angry about it and just genuinely share what I've experienced. And so maybe someone else does not have to experience it, or if they are experiencing it, to understand, a different way to, change that.
Yeah, I love that. And as I was listening to you, I love the idea of, we all start a new year. Like, it's very common these days to start a new year thinking about your word for the year. And a lot of times we think about words sort of external from ourselves, like things we want to do, things we want to accomplish. Like, my word in the past has been like focus. And so it's like, I'm going to be focused on, accomplishing X, Y, and Z. But hearing you being so intentional about encourager, it's giving me a new lens to really think about this, which I think is awesome. One of the things I'm going to do now, which I should have done at the beginning, is share this broadcast, because when I wrote about it this morning, I said I would be doing it from my relatable business page, and I'm doing it from my personal page. So I'm sure there are people over there like, where is this broadcast? I'm going to post it there right now, and get it over there before, people are like, where are you, Siobhan? You promised us. Because I try to be intentional about following through on my word. That is something that I try really hard to do. And those of you who are watching us live, let us know something that you have been intentionally growing in, even in your own life, because we've got to really pay attention. We've got to really pay attention to that stuff. And so thank you for that reminder, Lena. And it is now shared over there for those folks to watch it. Awesome. So how about this? One of the other questions that I really like to ask people is, what do you hope the women attending the GLAM Getaway walk away with, right? So we all come to the table, we come to this experience wanting to share something, get some personal fulfillment and satisfaction about helping others. What is it, as you think about anyone that might be in attendance at the GLAM Getaway, what is it that you hope they will walk away from the experience, from having interacted and heard about your story, as well as all the other things that will be happening at the event?
I think for me personally, what I would share is I'm hoping to get across to people that we make our choices. And even the simplest of choices we do make. And at the end of every day, we have to be responsible for the choices that we make. And we have to be responsible for the choices in particular that make us sad or cause us pain or make us angry and make us happy. Like, there's a whole gambit of things you have to be responsible for. So I think at this event, I would hope that from my story, and it would be relatable to people, that, some of the choices I made led me to where I ended up, led me to being sad, led me to the pain that I experienced. And the journey here for me has been really to accept responsibility for the choices that I made, not to hand out blame mostly, but to really internalize and see who it is that I want to be and why am I not doing that? And how am I responsible to solely really be doing that?
Mm-hmm. One of the things, as I hear you say what you just said, and I think about my work as a life and marriage coach, is this is very like adult stuff, right? And you see those posts on Facebook, like, I don't want to adulting. I don't want to be an adult. No, I don't want the responsibility. Like, this is grown woman stuff, right? This is not patty cake on the playground. This is like true evolution. And there are many people that will hear what you've just said and have this resistance to it. Like, whoa, like one of the principles I harp on so much is personal responsibility. And when it comes to like the inner work, when it comes to our own mindset and our choices and the things that we're doing that are creating the experiences we have in our life, we don't want to take responsibility for that. Like, we want to be pointing the finger at someone else, some other situation. And it takes a very mature, open-minded, really intentional woman to hear what you've just said and embrace it. And that doesn't mean that, anyone else listening is not there. I think all it requires is that you have a willingness to look and see. It's almost like, let me just look around this corner that I've been afraid to look around this corner for. And what I love about the GLAM event is that you get to do that in a safe environment with experts and with people who've had lived experiences that can help you do that, so that you don't walk away feeling shameful. Like, never, is that our intention in any of this. And even in my own personal development and growth, it's really required that we do look in the mirror, and that we not only look in the mirror, but we look at the mirror and we take responsibility and we look at our faults, but we also look at what's amazing and incredible about ourselves, and that we build on that, right? It's sort of like the more you build what's working for you and what's positive and uplifting in your life, the less space you have for all the negativity and all the drama and all the things that cause you heartache. And that requires like a grown woman, right? Someone with a growing mindset to be interested in that. Now, don't get me wrong, we are going to have fun doing that. Like, if that stuff can be fun, believe me, it will be fun at the event. But I just had to acknowledge that, because I feel the same way. And so much of my message is about taking personal responsibility. And many of us run away from doing that kind of work. And then when the end of the year comes and we haven't accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, we haven't experienced the things we want to experience, we're like, well, what happened? And what happened was we didn't do the work, right? You have to do the work. And the work doesn't have to be so laborious and so painful, but you have to at least enter the process with an open mind. So thank you for sharing it that way. And I also think about Ayama Van Sant. So for anyone who likes to watch Ayama Fix My Life, like she says at the beginning, she's like, I did my work, right? That's the only reason she can pour into other people, is because she did her work. And a lot of times we're trying to pour into other people. We're trying to be superwoman to everyone else in our lives when we haven't done our work to fill ourselves up with the right stuff to then create these ripple effects of wonderful fruits in our lives. So that was my own like monologue there. Sorry. So let's get to a little bit of the fun stuff, right? Let's get to a little bit of the fun stuff. So we have there's a lot of moving parts to this event. We've got a Friday night thing, we've got a Saturday morning, we've got a Saturday early morning and a Saturday mid-morning. What would you say, what you know about the event and some of the things we have in store? What would you say that you're looking forward to, that you're really excited about?
I think what you're offering, not only just for the women, but you're also offering something for vendors. And so I think that this opportunity isn't just for us to grow, but it's also to learn. It's also for the vendors to grow and learn. And I think that what you're trying to do is you're trying to take, vendors like yourself who are up and coming and learning and trying to do new things, and you're introducing them to a different segue of, promoting themselves. So I think from that perspective, I am very excited, because I think not only are you growing women personally, but you're also introducing vendors into your space and allowing them to grow from your venue. So I think that's a great opportunity. Everybody on the panel, they do what they do. And so some of it is their business, some of it is personal. And so I think you're allowing that, which I think is great, which some people don't normally do, So I applaud you for that, because I think that's a great opportunity.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited about the vendors, and I've been really, it's one of those things, like being a vendor myself, sometimes, especially with my book, it's sort of like you're not sure if this is the right opportunity for you, if it's going to be the right audience. And, I have to say, for this event, I've been so focused on making sure that the vendors are the right fit, that not only do they benefit from the experience in terms of their business and whatever product or service that they're offering, but that they get refueled themselves. I mean, this is an experience that's all about pressing pause on like the chaos of life and really refreshing and rejuvenating yourself. And so, especially, for those of us who are working full-time jobs or running a side business and doing this and doing that, you need that too. And so I'm really excited to have many of the vendors on board as well. And I'm looking forward to visiting many of the tables. I already got my list of things that I want to purchase from the ones that I So let's talk about like who should be coming to this event, right? And so because I've been doing so much of my work in the space of marriage and supporting married women, right? And even as you and I have been talking, we're like, well, Siobhan, am I the right fit for this experience and this conversation? And I'm like, absolutely yes, because I think, for as much as I hone in on the season of or the juncture of being married, I think so much comes before marriage and so much comes after marriage that people don't really think about. And so I often get the question of like, who is this event for? Like, what type of woman would benefit from this event? What do you think, Lena? Like, who would do well in this environment with us at the GLAM Getaway?
Honestly, I think we're talking about being relatable, right? That's what your brand is, relatable. And that's not just in marriage. That's in being a mother, being a sister, being a daughter, being a friend, being a coworker, right? You have to relate in every aspect of what you do on every day. And so when I think of this event, I say to the person who is saying to themselves, why am I not being that person I want to be? They definitely should be coming. I think the event is good for that person who needs that little push to start, right? Because you can always say, I reflect on myself. I think about myself, and I know what's good about me and I know what's bad about me. But sometimes you're not genuinely being honest about that either. And sometimes, for our own benefit, we sugarcoat ourselves, because we are in whatever space that we're in at that time. And so I would say if you need that push to listen and to say, you know what, here is truth, right? So I think at GLAM you will get truth, and you will get personal truth, and you will get doctor's truth, right? But in all of it, you will get some sort of truth that I think will be relatable for you. And so if you need that push to say, well, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing these things right? And right or wrong is definitely part of who you are in your own perspective. But listening to others will definitely help you understand yourself, I think, a little bit better. So I would say if you need that push, because it's hard to say, who am I and what am I doing wrong? Then I would suggest that you go. And if you go just to listen, you go just to listen. If you go to be interactive, then you be interactive. You go and you get what you need from it at this point, and then you take away from it what you need to do what you need to be doing.
Absolutely. I love that. It's almost like it's like a buffet. There's something for everybody there. For the social butterfly, for the quiet reflector, everybody, I think, will find something of benefit at this event. And so what would you say to the person who is like, maybe this isn't for me, right? So we hear of opportunities, and that's what this conversation is right now for us. It's like, this is the opportunity to share an event with someone that might benefit for it. So, I'm not forcing anybody, none of us are forcing anybody, but it's like, let's just put it out there as an opportunity for folks. And then what ends up happening, and I remember this so much, which was one of the impetus for me when starting my business, is whenever you feel something calling you and pulling you in the direction of something that's for your higher good, there is resistance, right? Some people will say, like, if God is pulling you somewhere, like the enemy is pulling you in the opposite direction. And so someone may be watching this, conversation that we're having and think like, should I go? Like, maybe on one hand, they're like, yeah, I probably need to look at myself a new way, or probably need to learn some new skills to take to enhance my life. And then as soon as they think that thought, there's another thought that comes in with an excuse, like, oh, you can't do X, Y, and Z. What do you think are some of the excuses or some of the resistance that people might feel when they hear about an opportunity like this?
I know for me, probably 2 years ago, if I were introduced to this, I would have said fear.
Yeah.
And people are actually very fearful of learning about themselves.
Yes.
Like, you can speak with your friends and we can talk and I can offer you like all types of things that I would probably never do myself. And it's funny, yeah, right. And that's who I was like 2 years ago. Like, I felt like I could give the best advice, but I probably would never take it. Although I knew it was like good advice. So I think fear stops us in a lot of ways. And we are afraid of ourselves sometimes. I don't think we realize how afraid of learning about ourselves we really are. But when life makes you stop and really take a look at yourself, that's when you do it. And unfortunately for me, that was my circumstance. I had to do it, right? Because I needed this to have some sort of purpose besides the sadness and the pain that was attached to what I experienced. I needed it to, have a greater purpose. And so for me, I had to, say, I'm not going to be afraid of myself anymore. I'm going to, look myself in the mirror and say, okay, what do you need to change? And why are you here? Like, why are you here? What is your responsibility in you being here? And, it's been a while. I mean, it's been 2 years and, I've been doing it for almost 2 years. I would say now I'm actually fearless in a way that I thought I was before. But I actually was not. I mean, now I can, speak my piece and say what I need to say and know that it's not coming from any other place. Like, these are just facts and this is what we're dealing with. And so I would say, don't be afraid to learn about yourself. It's the greatest gift you could give yourself. And don't wait for it to be, pain or sadness or anxiety to be attached to it. Like, I think we need to all come to a place where we just love ourselves enough to say, what do I need to be doing? And maybe, it doesn't even have to be like sadness and pain. If you're genuinely happy and all facets of your life are great, but there's some place that you can grow, right? That can make it better. And so I think for that reason alone, you should just participate in something that will help grow you.
Yeah, right. Taking yourself to the next level. Like, maybe things are great or things are good and they can be great, or they're great and they can be extraordinary. So I think that's a well-made point. What would you say if you were to describe what people could expect from the GLAM Getaway in like 3 to 5 words? Like, what would be the words you would use?
Well, I've attended a couple of your events, and so what I've felt from them were love, Trust. I think the atmosphere that you create is very communal, so you experience community. And I think you will also experience faith. Faith in a way to learn to trust.
Yeah.
And in particular, just to learn to trust yourself. Because if you're not trusting of yourself, then you cannot definitely be trusting of anything or anyone else, in my perspective. So those were the words that I thought of when we spoke about it.
Great. Now, what else? Any other comments, final thoughts, or anything else you want to leave people with as they consider learning more or attending the class?
I say if you're attending, congratulations. I think that what Siobhan has put together will be great. If you're hesitant on attending, then I suggest you question yourself and ask why you're hesitant in attending. And some of those things will point you to the things that we will talk about at the GLAM Getaway. And so trust yourself enough to know yourself and know what you need and know what you want. And I guess, a large question that I ask myself daily is, am I being who I want to be? Mm-hmm. And if I'm not, then I'm asking myself why. And sometimes I'm not, and I'm not because of a particular reason, but I'm okay with that reason, right? I'm not because, of somebody else's, issue, right? It's not about their issue. It's about me. And so sometimes when I'm not, it's because there's a boundary that I've created that I've said, no, we're not overstepping this boundary. And that person has overstepped that boundary. And so I can't then be who I per se want to be because the boundary has been crossed. And so the GLAM Getaway will, I think, help you experience that, help you experience to be your ultimate true self, no matter what the circumstances, right?
Yeah. So true. I love that question. Am I being who I want to be? So thank you, Lena. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm so grateful that you're going to be part of this amazing experience. And for those of you that are considering, hopefully we will both see you there December 8th and 9th here in New Jersey, in the northern New Jersey area. All the details are on the website, berelatable.com/glam. Thank you, Lena. We'll say goodbye
to
all of you.
See you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.